Do you know, in 1963, I was in London, England, working with Noel Harrison, Rex Harrison's son, at a club called the Blue Angel in the Mayfair area. And I went to school there at RADA for a while. And while I was in England, I just love the English singers. They're just marvelous. Matter of fact, Beryl Davis, one of the great singers from England, originally from London.
I am from London.
And your father?
I lived in London all of my life.
Beryl Davis, my God, London. Your father was a band leader?
He was a well-known, very much in-demand band leader because he was a very, very handsome man.
Uh-huh.
And he conducted the band. He started with a partner in that band.
Right.
Played guitar.
Uh-huh.
But he was so great at leading the band, he turned into the leader in his beautiful tails, and God, he was a gorgeous
And
guy.
you were singing one day,
I
and
was
this
the band
man,
vocalist.
listen to this, and this man, Glenn Miller, discovered you. He heard you, and you joined his band.
Yes, he called me and said, come on over here, I want to hear you sing in person. So I did. I went over. And I sang, and I did a lot of shows with him. It was wartime, of course. That's why he was there with the most wonderful band. About 60 pieces this band had.
Really?
It was a huge amount of musicians everywhere. He didn't always have that many. That was for the big symphony concert stuff, you know. But he had a great dance band. And I also sang with the piano player, you know, had his own little group, and it was just dozens of little groups, and they were all great top musicians that I'd yearn to meet and see and know. As I did that all my life, you know, it's all I did.
How old were you when you started singing?
Oh, I was singing for money, professionally, at 8.
At 8 years old.
I sang anyway, but I mean, I demanded some salary because I was working so hard when I was 8.
Right.
And I never stopped. I went on. When I was about 11, I left my father's band, and I went to the BBC, and they hired me to sing with every different band that they had. I just went from one to the other.
So Glenn Miller worked with Glenn, working with this great man. Tell me about him.
Well, the show was, of course, a tremendous amount of songs that was always sent across the ocean.
Right.
Across the sea there, of course, over to France or Germany, wherever our troops were. And he had the most beautiful band. He could cut it up in all kinds of small groups. There was Mel Powell, had a little jazz group.
He was military, wasn't he?
Yes, of course he was.
He was military.
Yes, he was very
military.
military.
You met, and you also worked for Doolittle, General Doolittle.
Yes,
Tell me about General Doolittle.
Well, I came to Washington at his request.
Right.
And he just, from my background, he just must have decided, or somebody did, that I needed a little medal for it. And he gave me the most beautiful medal, which I had. And
so you worked all over the world with Glenn Miller.
I was very lucky.
But you worked with other bands, too.
Yes, many bands. Many English bands. Ted Heath, Mantovani, names you might know or may not know. It doesn't matter. They were wonderful musicians in England. Then I was brought to America under contract to Bob Hope.
Bob Hope. Good God. Here you and Bob Hope.
Yes, Bob Hope brought me over. He must have heard of this girl. I don't know. He contacted me, and it was what I'd wanted to do very badly ever since the war had finished. So I said, yes, I'll be there. And when I got there, I came straight to right here, actually, very nearby. I had a little apartment on the street here.
Right.
And
we're in Hollywood, right?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Oh, Hollywood. Yes. What
you came here in the
thrill
40s, really.
Yes, I did.
This is Sinatra when he first came to Hollywood, and this is Beryl Davis.
That's us in a theater right across the way, and we were running to we did a concert tour
look
up
how
in the
young
north.
He was, and look how thin he was. He closes one eye, it looked like a needle. Really?
It was a wonderful time because I can't say it wasn't, it was a professional, beautiful.
Right.
Wanted to hear him sing personally.
Was he nice?
Yes, charming.
He was sweet, wasn't he?
He had a wife and a daughter was born while I was on the show.
Tell me about Bob Hope real quick, because I was in Vietnam, he was there. And
he's a remarkable man.
He didn't want to go on that night when I was there, that day, because it was raining, the monsoon.
Oh, I think he's done a million shows
He's done
in the
it,
rain.
but he's great.
Yes, he sits, one of his accoutrements that he can do, which has really done him in very good stead through the years, is he can sit down and go to sleep like that.
He can, really.
And that's how he keeps himself going. Yes, he takes dozens of little naps. Wherever you are, you can see him.
How about you, darling? Do you do the
Oh,
same?
I never learned that.
No?
Never learned that. I
You
have
still
to
keep that voice.
I
in
have
shape.
to have a beautiful bed to sleep in, you know, and I wait till I get there and then I go to sleep. But I
Beryl
can't.
Davis still sings today. You still work. You're going out there performing.
Oh, I love to work. I love to sing. It's because I'm singing all the time that I can still do it. I think if you were to stop,
Right.
well, I've heard it done many times. You cannot stop. I don't know why. Then it goes down.
I did it, honey. I stopped singing and my voice went bloop.
Yeah,
You
it
got to
just goes
vocalize.
downhill.
Could I get it back again if I start
I
vocalizing?
don't really know. I wouldn't
don't
want.
think so.
I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't
a
want to
chance.
promise you, but maybe
Yeah.
someone who does voice work
Voice,
would
yeah.
know, could help you. You know.
Uh-huh.
But I
But
could
you
never
sing wherever
stop.
you-
I
you-
mean, I'm singing walking now. If I don't have a show or something to do, I sing walking down the street. Nobody seems to care. They don't look at me and give me
Yes,
sort of a
yes.
bad time and say, "What's the matter? Is she drunk or what?" You know, they just seem to accept it, or they don't even look at me.
Here's a guy next to you is Michael St. John.
Thank you.
Dorothy Dandridge's very dear friend. Worked with Dorothy. You've
Yeah.
done a lot of things with Dorothy Dandridge. Tell me about that movie, Carmen Jones.
Yeah, Carmen Jones was, of course, directed by Otto Preminger.
Wonderful.
And Hedda Hopper really paved the way for my getting a role in the picture. She heard me sing with the Fred Waring and his Pennsylvanians back in New York concert. So they had a party afterwards, a reception, and she came up to me. She says, "If you ever get to Los Angeles, look me up." Of course. I made my way to L.A., and I called Hedda. And she says, "You're here? You're really here?" You know.
Was she the most beautiful black lady ever?
Dorothy?
Dorothy.
Yes.
They claim she is.
Dorothy was beautiful on the outside, frightened as hell on the inside.
Yeah, tell me about that. Wait a minute. Michael St. John, why did she do what she did? Why was she so frightened of the world? She really was, am I right?
She was a gorgeous, beautiful black woman who lived in a white world that didn't accept her, and she had an opportunity at various times to rise above the norm, and she still wasn't accepted as a
You don't
star.
think she was accepted? Not
No.
by all.
I was there at the premiere of Carmen Jones, and one of the hosts outside, from I think from Variety, asked her why she was there, and she was nominated for the Oscar.
Wow.
And I stood there in shock, utter shock. They were not really, it never registered to them that she, as an actress who happened to be black,
yes,
could be nominated for an Oscar. It was, especially as a leading lady.
But as time goes on, she committed suicide.
Yeah, she did.
On Fountain.
Well, she had a terrible marriage, yes.
Is that what it was?
I was always glad to drive down Fountain
To
because
see.
it said she's up
She's
there.
up there, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wasn't that a
God, I
great
was so
apartment?
thrilled,
That's
yes.
great apartment. I
Yes.
love that
Oh,
I know
apartment.
yeah.
exactly
yes.
where it is. And I used to go by and
Yes.
think I'm passing Dorothy Dandridge's
Yeah.
Yes,
place, you
yes.
know.
Dottie was a recluse. She was very shy. She was nothing like the movie of her life
Really?
with Halle Berry. No, she was not outspoken. She was not aggressive. She was always into herself, and
Afraid.
afraid.
Why
yes.
did Halle Berry do the other way? You weren't satisfied with the film, I see it.
Oh, it was a beautiful film. Was a film.
Right,
You know what I
right,
mean?
right,
You can
right.
pick out a story and create anything or any slant you want. But
Yeah.
the idea is that was not the Dorothy Dandridge that we all knew and sort of grown up watching and observing and working with.
Right, right. But
But that's
she-
Hollywood, though.
She
Pearl,
had,
you know that's
but
Hollywood,
she had
too.
trouble at the end. She was taking
I can
drugs.
figure,
wasn't
Yeah,
I
she was-
still can't figure
yes.
Hollywood out.
You
No
still
one
can,
could.
Pearl?
No.
Yeah, but you never took drugs. You didn't
No,
drink
I
and all
didn't,
that
no.
because you were from the old school.
And I got married, you know.
And you
I
got
had
married to a
fairly
wonderful
good-
guy.
Yeah, I had a wonderfully sedate life, really,
Right.
compared to most people, you know. But
So-
I loved it. He had a wonderful show every week, Jukebox Jury.
Right.
which
Yeah,
he
I love
played-
that show.
He played all the
Yeah.
records that were coming out, you
Right.
know. And he had wonderful people on the panel, which had not been done. You didn't see Fred Astaire.
Right, right.
Or people of that ilk.
And you did the hit parade. Come on, girl. Tell me
Yeah, I
about the
did.
hit
Well, the
parade.
hit parade was wonderful because I was with Frank Sinatra.
When Sinatra was on.
Yes,
Yeah.
he was the
Host,
headliner,
yeah.
you know. And we did it right down here.
On Vine.
On Vine, and it was, for me, it was the, oh God, I was in 7th
I'm
heaven,
looking
you know.
at you with my favorite man. Look at that. His
Louis
50th
Armstrong.
anniversary
Louis.
birthday.
Yeah,
This is
in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
We
Vegas?
worked with him in Las
Look at that. That
Can
is
you
you
imagine
and
us
Jane
working
Russell?
with him?
Jane Russell.
We did our,
Yeah,
our
Jane
you know,
Russell.
our funny act that we had that was so successful. We were singing spiritual songs
Yeah.
to jazz.
Yeah,
background,
how many girls
you
were
know.
that?
3. Connie Haynes was the other
Connie
one. She
Haynes,
just doesn't happen
Jane,
to be in that picture.
Jane and Connie, and,
And
matter of fact,
myself.
that record
Actually,
became.
we started with Rhonda Fleming, who's there somewhere.
Rhonda passed.
Is
didn't
this the group
No.
right here, though?
No,
do you
that's
mean?
the 3 of us.
3 of you, yeah. Can I
Rhonda
see
Fleming
this?
was in one of these,
Can I see this? That's
and
it.
she was.
That's the 3 of you.
She didn't stay very long because she got other work and she wanted to do that rather than sing.
Yeah.
But
Rhonda Fleming, yes. Oh,
Jane-
here's Mr. Blackwell.
yes,
Yeah.
there he is. Well, he did our,
Connie Haynes and
those
Jane
are our
and
clothes.
Pardon me?
Those are our dresses that we wore, and he designed them and brought them to us on
he
opening
designed
night.
these dresses.
Yes.
Oh, how beautiful. He's a nice man. He
yes,
really
he's a
is.
charming friend and a good friend up to this day.
He loves Jane Russell. Look at that. Look at this. He designed this one too, huh?
Yes, he was fixing Jane's whatever it is.
You know, I look at you. Every time I look at you, I think of Elizabeth Scott, my darling.
Do
Even
you
on
really? I
camera,
thought you were going to say
You're-
Jane
That is
because
just what I
get,
say.
No, Elizabeth
Yeah.
Scott.
I get a lot of people when we were working together, they thought I was Jane and vice versa.
This is your husband.
That's Buck.
Buck.
The wonderful Buck Stapleton that I had wonderful,
How long
wonderful
were you-
times with.
How many years?
Oh, many years, 15
Many?
years. And he was at Capitol Records when I first met him. We were on Capitol Records,
Yes.
so I met him professionally, you know.
So you met Joni James then, too?
Yes.
Joni.
Oh,
She's
yes.
an old friend of
Joni
mine.
was
We started
lovely.
together in
You could
Chicago.
give us-
Did you know that, Michael? Joni and I started together in Chicago, Illinois. She made a record called Why Don't You Believe Me in Chicago.
Yeah,
And
big
it became-
hit.
Big
Why
hit.
don't you
Yeah.
believe me?
Right.
I want only you.
Carry on,
She's
honey.
beautiful.
A beautiful voice. I love this girl.
And she was big star.
Yes, she was, and she's married to a military man in Washington D.C. That's where she
Good,
lives.
that's a good
And
place to
she
be.
still goes out
Yes,
and sings.
sure.
How about you, Michael? You're living in San Francisco.
Well, right now, but I'm moving back to
Are
LA.
you really?
I'm moving back
Because
to
you're
LA.
a producer now. You've done
Well,
that.
yeah.
You know, you're a writer, producer.
Yeah.
You've just been with what's this lovely? You know her too. It's our lovely girl. You produced the movie.
Ruta Lee.
Ruta Lee.
Oh,
Thank
love it.
you.
There's so many lovely
Ruta's an
girls.
old
Ruta
friend.
Lee.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I
And-
produced a
and-
show called Studio House, and James Lewis wrote the
I love
the
hearing
music
about
for it.
all these lovely
And
people.
it's exciting because
Yes,
she is still gorgeous.
Yes, she?
And we had the Soup Nazi from Seinfeld on the show. We have Deborah Wilson from Mad TV in the pilot show, and we're very excited.
Is this
about
the
it.
pilot?
A pilot show.
Can we see just a clip of it? We're going to show a clip, can we? I think we're showing a clip of something.
Really?
Let's see.
Let's get started. Let's get started. Let's get started on a real good time tonight. Come, let's get started. Let's get started. Let's get started on a real good time tonight.
Deep in the heart of the city, once called Baghdad by the Bay, resides one of the most talented and versatile stars this country has ever produced, Lily Fargate.
Who's Lily Fargate?
Lily Fargate.
Who's Lily Fargate?
Well, I think she's like from Tennessee or Wisconsin or some city like that.
Vicky, do you even know who you live with?
Does any of us know who we are, really?
I've done Broadway, television, movies, the whole gamut. But fame? Fame is funny, you know. It's very much like your first husband. Leaves you for a younger woman.
But what does tossing salad have to do with it?
Oh, Miss Fargate! The clerks at the video store told me you were dead.
Is it because of the late fee?
No, did, like forever ago when the world was in black and white. And they said that you died because you drowned and you were on a yacht and you died in the water. And I rushed home because I thought you were dead.
But she's not dead.
Thanks for noticing.
Okay, let me get this straight. You've got a yacht?
No. What did they say exactly?
Oh, you owe $37.50 on all the gay porn you've had? Oh my God, he's still magnolias. Oh, and they also said that it was such a shame to have lost a great talent like Mrs. Fargate.
Oh,
Yeah.
how sweet to be remembered that way. Oh.
But you're not dead.
Yeah, that part I could live without. Stars were no longer needed on the stage. Oh, no. We were replaced by men painted blue and pounding on garbage cans. So, I packed everything up and moved to San Fran. And here, I ran into my dearest friend, Ginger Lamont.
Sure, I know Lily Fargate.
She's so funny. I love her. I think she's hysterical. You know, she's very funny. Is our girl Debbie Reynolds together?
Yeah.
When they do the Thalians.
Yeah,
You ever go
yeah.
to the Thalians?
Many
ball?
times,
It's
yes.
wonderful. When Debbie's on stage, I just
She's wonderful,
Yeah.
isn't she, Debbie?
a great,
what a
great
survivor
comedian.
she is.
Yeah, she is a
Yeah,
survivor.
yeah,
I
she
love
is.
her. She's
I
absolutely
love
a
her for it.
darling lady. But this lady right here has really supported that Thalians.
Oh, yeah.
She has done a lot. What is she doing now? Just besides.
Well, she's doing the senior class. It's a musical that's appearing, that's is in production or in Palm Springs.
In Palm Springs.
Yeah, and then of course we hope that she'll be involved with my sitcom once that's completed.
Right,
you know.
right.
How
Michael,
lovely.
tell me something.
Yes.
James Dean, I knew him when he first started.
Yes.
And you know something about him, too. How did you meet him? Tell me.
I was at USC,
Right.
and we met at one of the parties. I think Betty White had given a party.
He was a star already.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Because I
And-
met him before.
yes.
Before. Go
Right.
ahead.
And so Tallulah Bankhead was supporting my time there, and she arranged for me to live in the hills with Miss Betty White. And so she had a party, and he was invited, so he actually came. And so he liked what I did as far as singing and talking about acting and my understanding of it, and I had done a little Broadway even before coming to Hollywood. And so that's how we got together. But then he wanted me to do little devilish things in his Porsche.
I see.
He took me out to the valley. Can you imagine at that time, in 1953, I think it was, and spying on one of his girlfriends that he wanted to, he had a crush on in the symphony, the LA Symphony, Philharmonic Symphony.
Right.
He says, all you have to do is go up to the window and see what she's doing and come back and tell me. And so in the valley at that time, this little black boy going up in the windows looking at
gee,
I took a chance. I didn't realize what I was doing, but Jimmy Dean asked me to do it, you see. So I did it and came back and told
I
him.
met him when he was very shy and and he just came to New York City, a little farm boy from Indiana,
Yeah.
and he was sweet, and that's what happened to him. That's the only
yes.
time I know Jimmy Dean. But, Beryl, tell me
Yes,
something.
darling. What can
Tell
I
me
do for
about
you?
Mel Torme. You
Mel
must have
Torme,
sang
what
with
a
him
singer.
like together. You know
What a
that. What is that
singer.
called when you?
Duet.
No, the other thing when you sit. What is it called?
Duet.
But no, they use those slang words when you're. It's like jazz. You know, jazzy. What's that word?
I don't know.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. You must have been doing a lot of those things.
Oh God, yes. Well, he was one of my favorites.
Mine
all my
too.
life.
Mine
all
too.
my life I had listened to. I loved what he did with the songs, you know, and he still was in spite of how far away he'd get from the original song,
Right.
he was still sincere and real and himself, you know, and I just felt like he went much too soon.
What do you
in
think
my
of the
life.
singers today, Beryl?
I hear some good singers when they sing straight. The problem is that they seem to throw
They
away
go
a lot
with
of
those
it.
high notes
yeah,
and
they
scream.
throw away a lot.
Am I right?
And struggle a lot,
yeah.
you know. And I love the easy style. It's
Yeah, they
always
go
been
for
my
that note
style.
and up and
It seems we stood and talked like this before. It's so beautiful. We
Keep
looked
going.
at each other in the same way then, but I can't remember where or when. It's so pure. Our
That's it.
songs were
That's
so
singing.
beautiful,
That's
you
right.
know. And now I can't understand the words. I have
you
no
can't.
idea what they're
Michael,
about.
you grew up
know.
the same way. You know, you're a great singer too.
He looks like a baby to me.
Thank you,
He
Stanley.
hit himself.
Keep
You
quiet,
know,
yeah.
brown-skinned men and brown-skinned ladies, you never know how old they are, darling. Am I right, Michael?
I think you're
Look
right.
at-
Yeah.
Of course, you
Yeah.
don't have any
I started
lines.
on the Children's Hour in Philadelphia.
Uh-huh.
And Eddie Fisher was on another show at NBC,
Uh-huh.
and we did a show called Uncle Whip. He was the main singer, and I was called Froggy, because at that time I had a rather froggy-type voice, you know.
Uh-huh.
But we both did duets together, and we sang. And I was like on Saturday night, I was at NBC with Paul Whiteman.
Uh-huh.
Have you heard of Paul Whiteman, his orchestra?
Of course.
Yeah, I sang with his band. And then I went on Sunday, I was at CBS,
That's
WCAU.
the kind of thing I love.
You
Different
did.
things
So you
every
two have a
day.
lot in common.
Yeah, we do.
Really,
Yeah.
you do.
It's a push and a pull, but
Yes,
it's good for
yes.
you.
Beryl, tell me something
What,
about Jane Russell, Rhonda Fleming. Do you still see them?
Yes,
Are you
I
still
do. I
close?
see Jane a lot. Connie, we
Jane's
don't
in-
see
lives
because
in,
Connie's
Santa
in
Barbara.
Connie's in Florida.
Yeah.
And so it's hard for her to get over to us, you know. But we have so many requests. Why don't you girls get back and sing it? It would be the simplest thing in the world because we sang such simple things, you know. Do Lord, oh do remember me, oh Lord, do Lord. Oh,
That was a hit.
Anybody can sing
Yeah,
that,
but
so
that
you
was
don't
a-
have to have a big, strong voice
yeah.
and
Right.
vocalize, you know.
But that was
But
a
it
big
was
hit of
wonderful.
your records, I think, wasn't it?
It was. We sold 1 million copies of that, and we gave the money away, you know.
Did you really? How nice.
We kept a little bit for ourselves to pay for what we were doing,
Uh-huh.
but we were able to help a few
Beryl,
people.
are you writing a book?
No,
Why?
everybody says that. I've got to hurry up and do it.
Well,
before
we
it's
get
too
it done.
late.
Talk on the tape recorder. Let somebody
No,
put
I
it
never
on.
have.
Just talk on the tape recorder. That's how I did it. I got a book. I talked on the tape recorder.
Yeah.
And let somebody put it in paper.
I had such a wonderful time in England, you know, before I ever came to America. I had so many people
You had a
to
great
talk
childhood
about
up there,
yes.
did you?
And, I was not always working, but I mean, I worked with the best talent that you could imagine. Stefan Grappelli and Django Reinhardt from France
Wow.
would come over, and that was my first job away from my father's band, which was a big change for me, you know.
You live in California now. You
Yes,
live
I
in Toluca
do.
Lake area.
Yeah, I live Toluca Lake, which I love.
Yeah, I grew up there when I was 9.
Lot
My
of
mother had a
lovely
house there
people.
on
We've
Sarah
been
Street.
there in and out for years.
I just love New York, though. California's
I
not
do
my
too.
not favorite
I would
place.
be in New York if I could be.
Too sweet. Too
Yes.
sweet. Why don't we go? I
Yes,
don't know.
right away.
Oh, but
Right away.
Tex Beneke. Ah, what a band. Tex Beneke.
All these bands today that I work with are wonderful. They're full-size bands. If you ever see an ad to your listening
Right.
people, if you see an ad for any big shows, we only come and do one in a theater, usually outside somewhere, you know. And you'll see Tex Beneke. I've got one coming. I've got 2 or 3 coming up. They're wonderful. They're put on by a gentleman.
Your albums are selling still, big
yes,
time.
and I sell them there, of
And
course.
but you just did
know.
a couple of years ago, I think, the 9/11 thing. You did something. I'll be seeing you.
Yes,
What was-
I'll be seeing you as my big closer.
Tell
That's
me
my
about.
biggest song.
Tell me about that. Where you did something for Salute for in Washington. Matter of
Yes,
fact,
I was in
November.
Washington, and I opened that whole new thing that we put up there.
Yes,
And
for 9/11.
I couldn't hardly sing. I was so touched that I was there.
You did.
know.
I'll be seeing you.
I did. I'll be seeing you.
How lovely.
Yes.
Who was
And
there? The president. And all
President was there and sent for me to come and see him,
President.
which I did.
yeah.
President Clinton at that time.
He's my
and
favorite.
I grabbed my husband because he was playing drums for me, and I said, "Come on, we're going." I took him with
Yeah,
me, you know. And it was just wonderful. It was so simple and so easy. He just walked in and
What
said,
did Clinton say to you? Because he's a big music
he
fan.
said, I just loved the way you sang that show. You sang it so simple, which
Simple.
I do. I sing it as simply
That's
as you
all
can
it is.
imagine.
That's
you
all.
know, I'll be seeing you in all the old familiar places. I close with it after every
That's-
show I do. And I
that's the-
sing it almost a cappella, which is without
Which
music.
is the best.
you know.
Absolutely.
Yes.
This is the best.
So he was very taken with that and asked us to come by, which we did. And oh God, I was so thrilled.
This is President Ford, my favorite Republican.
Yes.
The only Republican I like. President. There he
He's
is.
a handsome man.
He's a nice man too.
Yes.
He is. Is he really nice?
invited me to sing in that's in Palm Springs, and so I did.
Uh-huh.
I always sing I'll Be Seeing You. I close with that wherever I am. That's for everybody, you know. It's a good way to say good night. Yes,
You seem very, very happy right now?
I am very happy.
Do you go to those autograph things and signed in the valley?
No, I
you
haven't
don't do
been
that?
to
You
any
haven't
of those.
done it.
This was a
What
good
is this?
time of my life. This is Jane Russell, Connie Haynes, Rhonda Fleming, and myself.
Look at this.
We're like
Oh,
babies.
Let's see.
My
Let's see
God.
this.
This is when we first started, and we must have been so young.
Can I get a
Look at
close-up,
us.
please?
Look at the little
That's it.
bow thing
Perfect.
around the neck. Can you imagine that? I think Connie
Look
put
at
that
that.
together. And that's me
Look,
on the
you-
left.
Yes.
Girls were young.
We
Oh,
were.
God.
That was
Beautiful.
that was the beginning of our thing for Do Lord.
I
which we did.
love Rhonda Fleming.
Yes.
She's absolutely a
She's
darling
just
lady.
like the same now. She hasn't changed. A
She
bit.
hasn't, yeah, I see her
She's
around.
aged beautifully. She hasn't aged at all, but I mean, what she's doing, whatever it is, she looks wonderful.
Jane is good, too. Jane
yeah,
Russell.
well, Jane's very busy. You know, she's always got some.
She lost her
big
husband,
deal
didn't
going.
she?
Yes, she did.
It's just recent, matter of fact, I
Two
think.
husbands I was with.
Two
that
husbands,
she
the same
lost.
way.
Three, actually.
The same way, I
Yes,
understand.
yes.
The same way. Isn't that amazing?
Yes.
That must have been a heartbreak for Jane. But she keeps working, though, doesn't she?
Yes, she's very busy. She's got a lot of good friends, and that's where it shows up.
Does she have any
you know.
children?
Yes, she has
She
three
does?
children, 3 adopted children.
She must be thinking
You
about
remember
that.
she did all that work for adopting
Right,
children?
right,
She
right.
adopted 3
What
children.
did she think about the Howard Hughes movie?
I
Did you
don't
speak to her
know.
about that?
No, I haven't seen it
I
myself.
talked to
haven't.
Terry Moore.
Yeah, what did she say?
She says no.
She said no.
No, it's not quite.
Probably
That shouldn't
not.
surprise
Not
you
quite.
at all.
No, no.
Steph.
Benny Goodman. Oh, tell me about Benny Goodman.
Oh, he was fabulous. Fantastic. He was, of course, I was so...
You are considered one of the great band singers.
That's what I've been all my
That's it.
life, a band
Great
singer. That's where I
bands.
belong, in the niche, you
Yeah.
know, with the 5 saxophone players standing behind me and the trumpet player standing up taking a solo in between what I'm doing. I'm just used to that, and I'm very, very comfortable.
How do people sing without meter and sing with bands like Eddie
Oh,
Fisher?
they can't
Eddie
possibly
Fisher,
do it.
But Eddie Fisher's off meter.
They
and he
must
sings.
follow him. That's
Is
all
that
I
it?
could, I don't know. I don't know, but
Well, I
I
had to because he's a star.
Yeah.
It's terribly difficult to do. I saw him at the old, or on the way down to
Yeah,
town,
yeah,
that lovely old place we used to have that's no longer
Michael,
there.
I wish you luck with your.
Thank you. We need it.
That's a very. It's
Well, I
called
think
what now?
Studio House.
Studio
Yeah,
House.
yeah.
Thank
That's
you.
a nice title.
Yes, it is, and thank you both for
Thank
coming.
you so much.